Face value for all things mobile until we're doing the full in-depth review of the BlackBerry Z10. So this is the BlackBerry Z10 device. Quickly going around it, you've got the front-facing camera, 2 megapixels, earpiece, proximity and ambient light sensors. That is a LED, very similar to the ones you see on BlackBerry devices, BlackBerry 7 and 6, and most BlackBerry devices nowadays. BlackBerry logo. You got the primary microphone here, that little notch, and then up top that's your secondary microphone. On the right side you've got the volume controls and a middle button there. Let's get it to focus. Stop focusing. Middle button there for bringing up the voice dictation function. Back we've got the BlackBerry logo, 8 megapixel camera, LED flash, and this back is a nice rubber texturized back. It is removable, so let's go ahead and remove the back. Oops, I accidentally activated the voice control there. So removing the back, you got an NFC antenna here in the battery door, just like previous models. You've got the LS1 battery, it's an 1800 mAh battery. Micro SD card slot supports up to 64 gigs. I've got a 32 gig in here. And you've also got the micro SIM, that's what it uses. What else is there on the front of the device? The screen is 4.2 inches diagonal. It is it's a Super AMOLED IPS display, as BlackBerry states. And resolution is 1280 by 768, so you get 356 pixels per inch. 3.5 millimeters to check up top, and power on off, screen power on off, so that's convenient. On this side you got the micro HDMI port as well as the micro USB port, so it's always good to see those standards being supported. And actually around the touchscreen you've got the gesture area, so you could gesture up to do the peak gesture, for example, or gesture down to get some extra options in the apps. We'll start off by looking at the phone application, and it's pretty basic. You've got the calls, contacts, go through contacts, and then the dial pad. This also does support HD voice, so you will see that logo if you're calling someone and they have a device and network that supports HD voice. The user interface, it's a basic icon grid with a little bit of enhancements though. So you do have the gestures, like the peak gesture and swiping in, that gets you to the hub, among other things. So you can also use, if I'm in an app like Contacts for example, I can swipe down to the top to get additional settings. And yep, so that's also your gesture for additional settings in some apps. Taking a look at the BlackBerry Hub, this is, taking a look at the BlackBerry Hub, this is the universal inbox, essentially, of BlackBerry 10. All your messages go here. You could also drill down from Hub to notifications, which is just like device notification, app updates, and things like that will show up here. You've also got your BBM, BlackBerry Messenger messages, text messages, Gmail, Yahoo, so any email accounts, Facebook messages, and these are Facebook messages, and these with the post icons are like Facebook comments and replies. And also you've got Twitter, you can plug in Twitter, LinkedIn, and then your calls. So that's just BlackBerry Hub. It kind of is a unified inbox for everything. And you've also got features like universal search are still here. There we go. So we can pull up, let's pull up settings, SE, and it'll search the device, applications, contacts, documents, settings, music, pictures, video. So it goes through everything on the device. Let's go to settings. Let's go about. So this is a 1.5 GHz dual core Snapdragon S4 Pro if you have the LTE version. Now if you have the non-LTE variant, The processor is the TI OMAP 4470, and that is a comparable processor. It's just that those devices don't have LTE. So, taking a look at it, we have 16 gigabytes of onboard storage, just to get you started. But we also have a micro SD card expandable up to 64 gigabytes. You've got 2 gigabytes of RAM, which is actually quite nice because you can do a lot of multitasking with that. 2 gigabytes of RAM, it's quite a lot of RAM, which is very nice. You've got other features like Wi-Fi, 802.11 both on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, so that's dual band Wi-Fi. You've also got, depending on the variant, you've also got a quad band HSPA or tri-band HSPA, quad band LTE, and quad band GSM. The Verizon model is LTE dual band, I believe, and CDMA, so that's a very unique version. I think that's only like specific to Verizon in the US. So in Canada, we're getting this model here. You guys can see it's the STL103, and it's the RF91LW. I'm not sure if all the carriers in Canada are using the same model, but I know Rogers is, and I believe Telus is. I'm not so sure about Bell as of yet. Also, you've got Bluetooth 4.0, so it's low power Bluetooth, and that's a lot better than the traditional 2.1 Bluetooth. And you can go into settings. So you've got a lot of settings here as well. Software updates are done directly on the device, as with previous BlackBerry OS versions. Media sharing is actually pretty interesting, because what that lets you do is share content. It lets you use your device as a media server. You can stream content to your computer, or I know this works on a PlayStation 3, etc. So it's pretty nice and handy. You've also got other options like location options, payment options, accessibility options, etc. So that's just a quick look at the settings. All the apps have been redesigned. So if you look at like browser, it's a totally redesigned app. What else? There's calendar. It's been completely redesigned. You can see your monthly view, pull down. So it's been really redesigned and revamped with BlackBerry 10 in mind. And always you've got the accessibility of the hub. You've got some new apps like BlackBerry Remember, which is kind of like a memo pass / task list rolled into one. Very convenient. You've also got integration with Dropbox and Box. So that's really nice and handy. A lot of the native apps have been rewritten as well. For example, like Compass, you'll notice that it has a nice 3D thing going on there. It's really nice and just a lot of eye candy. It just looks visually appealing. That's really all there is to that. Also, you've got apps like Documents to Go are also redesigned for BlackBerry 10, and it's really cool because the PowerPoints actually do maintain their original transitions, I believe. Here is a PowerPoint that comes on the device. Oops, I accidentally closed it. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's the PowerPoint, and I'm just going to quickly go through it. You guys can see that there are transitions, and it is pretty cool. So that's Documents to Go, and things run fast on this device. This device has excellent performance. The 2 gigabytes of RAM, the 1.5 gigahertz processor, all work together nicely. The one thing that I really didn't like with this device, just minor nitpicks, are if the screen's locked, your volume keys are not. So essentially what happens is, I'm pressing the volume up and down keys right now, and if I turn on the screen, you guys can see that if the volume's at this level, at like a very low level, 1, lock the screen, press up a few times, it actually does change the volume. So that's one bug I think they can fix. The other thing is battery life over LTE is not great. So the first thing you would want to do if you're not in an LTE coverage area, or you want to save some battery life, Go into settings, mobile networking connections, mobile network, and set this to HSPA, UMTS, GSM, whatever works for you. LTE is quite a battery drainer on this device. Now I do think that this will get better in time, especially with new OS updates. But for right now, LTE is a huge battery drainer on this device. I can only go about 5 hours on LTE, whereas on HSPA I can go maybe 12, 13 hours with typical usage. So definitely disable LTE if you want an increase in battery life. Also, the interesting thing is they have a voice dictation client. They don't really have a name for it, it's just called voice control. So it's a very generic name. We can pull that up by pressing and holding the middle key, and it actually works while locked. So let's try to send a text message to Tyler. So we press and hold this key, middle button. Send a text to Tyler.
Do you want to search the internet for send to?
No.
What would you like to do?
Send text message.
Do you want to search the internet for send? What would you like to do?
And as you guys can see, it doesn't work that well. It works from time to time, but sometimes it doesn't actually detect what you want it to do. So let's try that one more time. Press and hold. Oh, and also this is a list of things you can actually do with it. So let's ask it to send a text. Send a text to Tyler. No. Send a text.
This command wasn't understood. Try repeating your command.
Send text.
What would you like to do?
Yeah, so it's not working for me right now, but it does work every once in a while. Also, the neat thing is it's also a voice dictation feature. So what we can do here is you can go back, we can create a new document, and within the keyboard, it's kind of like Google's implementation and also Siri on the iPhone. So you can see down here at the bottom that the period has a microphone. Well, we press and hold, and we get this. So let's do something and see if it will work. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Okay, so I don't think it got all that. The jumps over. Okay, so we got part of that. So that works reasonably well, but I do think that there's a lot of room for improvement there. Overall, what do I like about this operating system and what makes it unique? Well, not so much unique, but I think that the gesture implementation is a lot better. A lot of accessibility options, like for example, if I go down into the hub and then I go to an email that has multiple parts, and I'm kind of a couple taps, I can always press and hold back and swipe back and always get back to the root without having to keep pressing back, because there is no physical back button. So that's kind of nice. The HD voice feature works really well, and the call quality is quite good even without HD voice. So call quality is a plus. Battery life is not so great over LTE, but over HSPA plus, it's pretty good. It's on par with other smartphones. Also, the keyboard has been redesigned. You guys can watch that video about the keyboard that I did, but you've got the new auto text word prediction keyboard. So that's always nice, and it's also designed just like a BlackBerry keyboard, so it's easy to use. And the cameras are probably up to par. 8 megapixel camera on the rear, full 1080p recording. We've got HD samples for that. Front camera, 2 megapixels, 720p HD video. We've also got a sample of that as well. So check out all the other videos on the BlackBerry Z10. So this was just a quick review, and I'm Faisal. I'll see you guys in the next video.